Hello and welcome to Grumpy Gamers. You're here with me, Pete, and along with me this week I have Ben.
Hello.
And Eddie.
Hello.
Nice. And no Kirk, unfortunately, who had to bail out at the last minute this time. It was close.
Yeah, it was a late
It was a late
bailout
part.
as
Was
well.
it like 45 minutes ago? I respect that.
Yeah. A lot
I
of
mean, I
time
don't
for
know
that.
how a man doesn't know that he can't be on the podcast
Busy man.
until 45 minutes.
He's a busy man.
Busy man. Do you know what worries me as well? Like there are times when I realise, like, holy shit, I'm not going to be ready for the podcast. But that's like, I'm too deep into podcast prep to say I can't do it. Do you know what I mean? I go because I'm like, well, I've done all this work. I'm not going to pull out now, so I just rush it. So I think that means he does no prep if he's pulling out 45 minutes before with.
To be fair, Eddie, I'm not going to jump on the fact that you just talking about how deep your prep is. I'll bypass
all the work.
But
Yep.
yeah, but I was thinking. I logged on about 6 o'clock just to reread the doc, etc. And I was thinking, ooh, Kirk, he hasn't been on. Kirk, he hasn't done his news story. He likes to leave it late.
Well,
Obviously Eddie was beavering away at that time.
How about this, though? How about this? I saw that there was 2 news stories, and I took the non-CMA one, and then I went, oh, no. But then it would leave Kirk with the CMA story. So I took it back, and I took the CMA news story.
Spoilers for the news. Yep.
There
Good
you
move, Eddie. Good move.
There you go.
And, of course, after that news, we will be doing the new releases. We've got a pretty light what we've been playing, but it does have Diablo 4.
Oh, it
which
does.
I think is pretty much the only thing anyone wants to hear about anyway.
Well, it's the only thing I want to play, so...
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And our feature this week is, of course, Eddie's Real Deal. No, it's not. We're delaying that by probably a couple of weeks because of all the showcases.
Oh,
And so-
I was going to say, why next week? That was a stupid question. I'm glad I asked that on a podcast.
No, it's going another week. Yeah, because of course we have Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase, so we're doing our hopes and dreams for that. I'm going to phrase it that way. Yeah, the things we're clinging to from Jeff. We'll see how we go when we actually get to that. For now, we should do the quick news.
Absolutely. So Everybody Want to Switch has been announced as the big summer release for Nintendo.
You know what I loved about this, Ben? Before you continue, the way you'd put that, I thought this was Everybody 1 was Story for Everybody. Switch 2 has been announced as the big summer release. And I was like, holy hell, that is huge. Wow. That is a big
turnaround
start.
for the 30th of June.
Yeah, and then when I actually looked at it, I was so crushingly disappointed.
I thought 1-2 Switch was the name of the new Switch, so I copy and pasted it, and then I was very disappointed.
Well, I'm glad it had that effect on you, because it had that effect on me when it was announced. So yeah, it's the follow-up game to 1-2 Switch that came out on the release of the Switch, which was full price at that point. At least this game is going to be £25. They have announced this game. Pre-orders are live. As far as I'm aware, there is no gameplay trailer. There's no trailer of any sorts. There's nothing. They've just said it's coming out. Pre-order it.
Okay.
And nobody will. So yeah, big summer release. Next up, Stalker 2 devs. They've said that they were hacked by Russian hackers and they've released a test build of the game online, so they've urged people not to play it.
Right. Okay.
Sad state of affairs. So
Yes.
don't play it. Next up, Spider-Man 2 news. So I think a lot of people have been talking about switching characters between Miles Morales and Peter Parker, and this was explained this week how that kind of works. So during the story, the actual story of the game, like the progression stuff, the main story things, Peter and Miles, like the game controls when you're each, and we saw that in the latest gameplay trailer at the PS showcase. But in the open world, there's content specific to each character and content where you can choose which character you want to be. So I think that's what people generally tend to focus on one of the two characters. So when you get games like this, and they'll have their favourite. So that's, I think, what people were hoping for. So it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Disco Elysium is now available on Mac. That's all I've put.
Fantastic. I honestly wasn't sure if this one even counted as a story, but it was like, you know what? Mac gets so little. Good on them for getting Disco Elysium.
Kirk does bang on about games not being able to be played on a Mac or some bullshit like that. So they've got Disco Elysium, bloody good game.
Yes.
And then a follow-up to a story. Well, we said a couple of times, Yuji Naka. Yeah. He's actually been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, and he's been fined the equivalent of £1 million for his insider trading. So this is the one of the Sonic creators. Yen.
My God.
If I'd said fined 50 billion, that would have that would have been quite something. But yeah, he has been sentenced to prison, so it's kind of what we expected, being in hot bathwater. So
yes.
Well, a kind of spoiler for our feature. So Fable was heavily teased for the Xbox Showcase event. So they did there was a video and a glitter trail through a house and somebody following it. That's kind of synonymous with the Quest kind of guidance system in the old Fable games, if we all remember. So Fable has been teased heavily. We'll talk about the Xbox Showcase later, but given the reaction from that video, they fucking have to show Fable now. Yeah, don't fuck that up. Come on. But anyway, yeah. So that's heavily teased. And lastly, Activision Blizzard received 114 reported cases of harassment internally, discrimination or retaliation by its employees last year, with 29 of these being substantiated by investigators. So this was pointed out off the back of, obviously, all the news from the previous year and everything that's brought up and allegations against Activision Blizzard. They've had a lot more cases of harassment been reported, and you'd kind of expect that given now the openness of probably how they're trying to present and how people can report things. So that's both a good and bad thing. Good thing that people can feel open to report, bad thing that there are things to report.
Yes, well, this was the one, wasn't it? They came out in response to this and after saying they hadn't got a systemic issue and said that the rise in misconduct reports was due to greater scrutiny, which I thought was an interesting way of basically saying, well, yeah, if you're looking, of course bad stuff will happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's
yeah, when you put it like that.
Yeah, it's a very strange way of approaching it, but I think we all knew this was rife in the background anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, it can only be a good thing that things are being reported, investigated, and
exactly
what have you. So, yeah, I mean, and they're trying to change their public image and also internally address issues. So, hopefully, that gets sorted.
Hopefully. God, what a down note to end the quick news on. Good thing we'll start with a nice upbeat one, eh, Eddie?
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Our listeners deserve better. Yeah, it's more CMA stuff. Microsoft are considering pulling Activision from the UK. Well, so there are rumours. As of one option to bypass the country's block of its proposed $69 billion acquisition, Microsoft could consider pulling Activision from the UK market. According to a new Bloomberg report, Microsoft President Brad Smith will meet with UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt next week to voice his frustration over the Competition and Markets Authority's CMA decision to block the deal. As we know from a couple of weeks ago as well, Jeremy Hunt wasn't too happy with the deal as well, but won't go into that. Microsoft did confirm that Smith will be in London, but they said it was for a scheduled talk about potential of AI and the need for thoughtful regulation of it. In theory, if Activision operation moved to a country outside of the CMA's jurisdiction, for instance, another European country, Activision games could then be sold via a distributor. Microsoft's appeal against the UK competition watchdog decision to block its acquisition will be heard next month, actually. So, but of course, we know that can take, well, it probably will take anywhere from 9 months to a year. So, don't get excited about that. Yeah, what do we think about this? Obviously, we're in the UK, so
it's a lovely bit of posturing, isn't it? Which we're in line for another year's worth of. Yeah, I'm not sure if it will lead to anything. It might well be a workaround for them, but I suspect more it's kind of trying to put the screws, you know?
Yeah, it must be quite reactionary. But the problem with this type of thing is that the CMA wouldn't want to lose face.
Yeah.
So all of this public stuff and the meeting with Jeremy Hunt, I mean, meeting with somebody who theoretically cannot influence the decision.
Yes.
You know, this is an independent like authority. You know, it's an independent regulator, and if anything, if the pressure is put on them to overturn this, and it seems like that from a public perception, like that destroys the CMA's credibility.
Yeah, and they're in a pretty good place at the moment. What with the forcing Meta to sell, was it Pinterest or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
I can't remember
whatever
exactly.
it was. Yeah.
No, it was Imago, wasn't it? It was the.
And they did that.
The GIF one, yeah.
And that was fun. They made it happen.
Exactly, yeah. They've made that happen. They've forced it to occur against Facebook's wishes or Meta's wishes.
Yeah.
But then you would hope that posturing wasn't a real concern as well, but definitely will be. The thing for me is I think they're going to find some form of compromise, aren't they? Like you would think.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't know. Like the thing that struck out to me, we said all along, is that when you appeal, you have to appeal on the basis of process, and maybe by putting in an appeal, they just allow longer negotiate. But the CMA shouldn't bow down to this.
No, they definitely
shouldn't. It would undermine everything.
But they definitely shouldn't. However, they shouldn't have made a decision like this based on cloud fucking gaming.
well, yeah, but you know, in their mind, they have made it for a particular reason. They didn't not put in the work.
True.
So whatever work they have put in to come to that decision, they've done a considerable amount of it. We may think the decision doesn't hold water or what have you, but they've looked at it more closely than I have. And you've got to kind of bow down to that authority. And I understand Microsoft's position, but what can Jeremy Hunt do? I mean, I actually think this will get overturned, but I don't think for any reason why it should be. You know,
because of money, Ben. That's why.
Yeah. Well, you say because of money. You say because of money, and I hear people say like, "Oh, well, the UK are going to be missing out of X number of millions." Doesn't matter. Like, it's not. This isn't extreme money in terms of the UK economy, of what's collected. You know, that it's not extreme. You know, piss off a lot of gamers that may have to bypass and not be able to play things how they want to play it, but it's not going to affect anything really.
No, I mean in the sense more of collective perception of us as a market.
Well, that
if we're the only ones who reject it, it's getting overturned.
It is that perception of investment in the UK from a tech business.
Yes,
that's the thing. But also you could say that the UK is a very protected market that looks after competition. I don't know. You can spin it another way.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. Whoever wins will spin it in a way that favours them, no doubt.
Absolutely.
It continues to be a watch this space with the fucking acquisition, though, doesn't it? My God.
It will be for a long time.
I know. Also, Eddie, that misspelling of Microsoft on the doc was fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's
very happy.
MCIROSFT. That's two quick type mistakes because I've swapped the C and I and S and O. Oh, fuck me.
It's closer to Microsoft.
It's a great part of your deep preparation. That's what I'm impressed by most. Anyway, moving forward with other news. Square Enix are apparently a little bit worried about Final Fantasy 16. So, I mean, we've been seeing Final Fantasy 16 everywhere recently, but there are rumours at the moment that they're worried about the pre-order numbers, which is just so corporate to me, but, you know, there we are. Despite their heavy, aggressive marketing campaign, which has seen Naoki Yoshida jetted around the world, and lots of gameplay footage shared with the fans recently, they are concerned. And we had a journalist called Imran Khan, which was interesting for me, as that's a major politician in Pakistan's name as well, and ex-cricketer.
Are we sure it's not the same person?
I'm pretty certain he doesn't have time for that in the middle of ongoing revolts in Pakistan. But yes, a journalist called Imran Khan teased some insight into this by saying, I had heard recently that Square Enix is panicking over the pre-order numbers, which are tracking behind Final Fantasy 15, even accounting for the lesser number of launching platforms. He wrote, and then did stress afterwards that obviously they're only an indication of day one sales and the actual number could blow everyone away. So, yeah, I mean, it does come just after they have decided to suddenly start marketing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again and provide some unexpected updates on that. So, there's a lot of stuff combining here to make not very much, if you know what I mean. That's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah. I think I think because of the change of style of Final Fantasy and this action orientation, I think there's an opportunity for people, maybe not this journalist or what have you, but there's an opportunity for people to sensationalize certain things because you don't know how it's going to quite perform being this style and not turn-based, etc. And I know they've done similar things before. Final Fantasy 15 was a bit like that and all that kind of stuff. But I would say that I would expect Final Fantasy 16's pre-order numbers to be below Final Fantasy 15, just because the percentage of digital copies now sold is way more. And unless there's an early access copy of a game like Diablo, why the fuck are you pre-ordering?
Yeah,
just buy it.
Yeah, that's
when it comes out. So I don't know. I would expect them to be down. Seems checks out to me.
Yeah, that's it. I get the feeling this isn't going to have any significant impact on the overall sales.
This game's huge. Like people are fucking all over this game.
I honestly thought it looked great, apart from the main character being called Clive as well. So yeah, everything apart from that name I've seen has been brilliant. No offense to any Clives who might be listening.
I can't imagine they've got anything to worry about, honestly. I think loads of people are up for this game.
Yeah, if anything, though, I was happy to see a little bit more on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well. So if they are linked, excellent.
I did see a tweet that said, like, it answered like a theoretical question: do I need to play the first game to play Rebirth or whatever? And it basically said, no, it said something really weird, like, we've made preparations for this in the game. Okay, fine. But yeah, I like how they're talking about it now. I would really like something to be shown at one of these events, but I think they could be focusing on 16.
Yeah.
So yeah. Moving on to my news story, Redfall. This is probably the last time we're going to talk about Redfall, I think.
I don't know. It might be one of those lessons for the future.
Yeah, actually, that could be a feature. Right, yeah. Redfall developers supposedly hoped it would be cancelled by Microsoft. So I think that's a sensationalized headline, but here we go. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier performed a bit of an investigation into what happened during the Redfall development. And how they ended up with what they did actually produce. He spoke to, I think, a dozen or so developers anonymously. The main talking points from this, you can read the whole thing. I think you have to subscribe to Bloomberg Online, so I read a news story talking about it. But supposedly Arcane was confused about being asked to make a multiplayer from the outset because they're all about single-player games. So it's unusual for them, but you know, studios do this, they branch out, that's what happens. But after Prey, which was, you know, a lot of people talk about Prey being an incredible game, but it was commercially, I think, fairly unsuccessful at the time at full price. ZeniMax, who are the parent company, they wanted to pivot to games as a service, so like ongoing revenue streams, and basically what we're seeing a lot of now. So but the actual studio, fewer than 100 people worked on the game. 70% of those who worked on Prey had left by the end of the development of Redfall.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, Microsoft took a hands-off approach. And Phil Spencer did recently admit that they didn't engage early enough and they didn't offer support early enough to the Redfall devs. But talking about Microsoft specifically, supposedly, the acquisition gave some staff at Arcane hope that Microsoft might cancel Redfall, or better yet, let them reboot it into a single-player game. Towards the end of the development, leadership assured the team that the Arcane magic would shine through, which is hard to believe since 70% of the Arcane magic team had left at that point. So
yes, yeah.
It is... The one thing I got from this was, you know, when you reboot a series and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, that developer made this one over here. People move on. Like, the people who made that game, like, the game that you loved 20 years ago, whatever, that isn't the studio anymore. It's just not the same people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's more than that to it. They're making more than one game. Like, just because they were on one of yours doesn't mean they're going to be on the next one. They might be on Deathloop.
Absolutely. Yeah,
or whatever the next one in Dishonored is going to be, if there were one. You know, that kind of thing. So you don't know that it's the same team, even if it's the same studio.
Yeah, absolutely. But this just shines a little bit more light and kind of Yeah, I mean Redfall. What do you want?
Better game.
Nice. Yes, wouldn't we all love a better game? Well, God, what a happy-go-lucky set of news we had today. Come on, Eddie, boost us through with some great new releases.
I saw what you did there.
I'm setting you up twice in a row.
Yeah, you keep on doing it, but I wish you wouldn't. I can't complain. It's we'll summarise at the end about how bad a full week is. So let's start with Harmony, The Fall of Reverie. Reverie?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
If you hadn't said that twice, I would have thought you knew that word off by heart.
No.
Excellent stuff.
No idea. Coming out on PC, PlayStations, Xboxes, and Switch, June 8th. The fate of humanity is at stake. Wow, you wouldn't have thought that after seeing this game. The fate of humanity is at stake. That's the opening line? Really?
Yep.
That's like a fucking Skyrim line or something. Jesus Christ. Use your gift of clairvoyance to see into the future and stop an apocalypse that threatens the balance between your world and the deities.
Lovely.
I know. I even got deities, even though it's spelt ridiculously. It's like a story-rich, choices matter kind of game. It's from the creators of Life is Strange, so you kind of know it's going to be okay. It's all done on like what I can describe as like a research tree, where you kind of go up and that's where you use your crystals to see other things. It's not an Eddie game, but hey, Life is Strange isn't an Eddie game, and that's pretty damn good. So, what do you guys think?
I quite like the look of it.
Yes, the look I think is pretty good.
Do you mean like the art style of like the kind of hand
the like art style, the UI, all of it?
Yeah, it's kind of like comic book cutscene kind of, but softer in its approach.
Yeah,
I quite like it, and I from the creators of Life is Strange, you kind of get that vibe from the. It seems to be like a talking decision-based game. Yeah, I really like the look of it.
The fate of humanity is at stake. Let's have a walking sim to decide it. Yes. No, I do think it looks really nice. It's definitely not a me game either, is it? Like, doesn't mean I don't think it looks bad. Yeah. Something like that. The pieces are there.
Yeah, I think people who like this kind of game will like this game. There you go.
Agreed.
How about that one?
Brilliant.
Right.
If you like this game, you'll like it.
Then you'll like it. I am the Alan Shearer of commentators.
Hey, Shearer's been alright recently. And did you see that suit he was wearing in the FA Cup? I loved it.
All right, we're diving into something that isn't quite gaming here. Let's move on to Pro Cycling Manager 2023. Yes, it's that week of the year again when both of them come out. Coming out on PC June 8th.
Waiting for it.
Manage a team of professional cyclists, control the budget, recruit young talents, train riders, and diverse race... fuck my life. Devise race strategies. Jostle for position to reach the top of the world rankings. This game is from Cyanide Studios, of course. You know, those famous developers who do racing, cycling games and Warhammer games, you know. Because that's completely normal to do. This game, the UI looks quite good. It seems very detailed, like there's loads of analytics and everything. The kind of the world view, you've got like a race view, which actually looks okay as well. Again, I think I said this last year. I'm not going to shit on this. I think it looks okay.
I think if we do this again, if we're still doing this next year, all I'm going to do is copy the section from this year and just play it again, because it's the exact same fucking thing.
Yep.
I mean, the fun bit is this developer, Cyanide, is a perfect example of what I meant about Arcane. Like, you're not going to turn around and go, I'm going to get that new Warhammer game because it's by the studio that did Pro Cycling Manager. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean they don't know how to make a good game. Anyway, yeah, it's really weird. We'll come to my terrified moment when we get to the second game.
Yeah, I loved the look of this game though. Like, if I knew anything about pro cycling, this looks fucking excellent.
That's fair. I do find it a bit odd that they started the pitch with control the budget. Like
Control the
not
budget.
like-
That's what you want of these
I
games.
love
Eddie loves controlling the budget.
budgets. Love it. Love
I
it.
mean,
I'm
all
in.
the other sections sound better than that one, but fair enough. Fair enough.
Control that budget, baby.
I don't want to be that guy. Like I like management games, but surely cycling has probably got to be on the worst, right? Am
You would imagine so,
being
yeah.
a bit critical there?
I don't know. There were like over 260 races or something.
I mean, I imagine
And you
if-
can still do the Tour de France in this and stuff. That's pretty. It's got depth.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into cycling, I'm sure this is the best of.
There's over 80
the
teams
management
to choose
teams.
from.
Please stop.
It's the only one, Pete.
Yeah, that's very true. But I am
Smash
going to
it.
say, I mean, even when you say teams, cycling never really strikes me as a true team sport, if you know what I mean. Like,
Oh, that's because you don't know how it works. Though.
I'm
You've got
sure
that
it is.
guy who's
I'm
like
sure
giving the
it is.
slipstream and all this kind of. I don't fucking know, but you do.
you talk a lot of guff when you want to, Ben, but I'm all for it.
There's a guy helping some other people
Brilliant.
in a team.
Absolutely brilliant. Right, let's move on to the next one. I'm just
One guy's bringing the EPO.
Oh, God.
Right, Ben, let's keep your interest then. Next one, Tour de France 2023, coming out on PC, PlayStations, Xboxes, June 8th. Ride shoulder to shoulder with the best cyclists and show your panache to triumph on the Champs-Élysées. Is that how to pronounce it?
No, but close enough.
In the official video game of the Tour de France 2023. Compete in mountain or flat stages and experience all the action of the Grande Boucle. Again, I don't know
Eddie,
if
don't
that's
you
right.
speak French?
Wait.
That makes it so much better. Okay, yes, fantastic, good.
Okay.
Go on, tell us more.
He's lived in France for over 3 years as well.
Exactly.
Wouldn't have thought it. You know what's interesting? And Pete, I think you're the first one to point this out, actually, on the doc. It's got the same first video as Pro Cycling Manager.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, it freaked me the hell out. They're the same game.
Like, if
I
you're into these games, surely you look at these both and go, hang on, it's the same game, isn't
Yes.
it?
Am I
So
getting
just-
mugged off?
Just to clear that up, when you go on Steam,
Oh,
there's the trailer for Pro Cycling Manager, which we talked about a minute ago, and then the trailer for this game. Now, Pete has written on our doc, this literally has the same trailer as Pro Cycling. And I was like, okay, well, he's just messed it up.
It's been
No,
dramatic.
it's the same game. They fucked it up.
Same video.
Why hasn't anybody pointed that out at them? Or have they just gone, fuck it, who cares?
In their defence, so this is also developed by Cyanide, isn't it? So
That's not a defence.
my point being is the guy at Cyanide who's in charge of this just probably accidentally pasted on this
Sack
one
that
as well.
man. Like,
No,
Just copy paste.
he develops Warhammer games, Ben.
yeah, but
He
it's,
or she. Sorry, we are really
you're
assuming
putting it
genders
on
here.
Steam. This is your route to market, and you've trusted it to some
Also-
man or woman who has no attention to detail.
We're being unfair. The closing graphic is different. That's he remembered to change the closing graphic.
Oh, there you go.
It's not the same logo at the end.
Okay, they're here. After all.
It's just the moment you start watching it, you're like, wait a minute, is this deja vu? What's happening? But yeah,
Wow, I
mean,
didn't realise they changed. Yeah, you're totally right. They've got the same ending. Sorry, different ending, right?
It just cuts to the different ending graphic. Yeah.
Wait, we're onto something here. So that's worse because then they've actually copied and pasted a large bit of the other video into this trailer.
Yeah, I don't know how
thought-
this has ever happened.
Holy shit! Wow.
No, that guy's just had an early finish on a Friday and just kind of gone like, I know what I can do.
Oh well, at least he's put the Tour de France bit at the end of the video. Then I mean, at least he's
Yeah.
done a little bit of work.
And at least there's no sort of cross-capture audience, so no one but us will notice. Fucking- at least put a few months between the games if you're going to clone them. Come on.
They do. Like, I couldn't believe it. We said the same thing last year and the year before that they released these two games on the same. We said last year. I'm sure we said like
Yeah.
in the office they're gonna have a massive party because they've been working so hard on two games. They'll release them. They'll just be like, oh fuck it, we've got nothing to do now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Start next year's, Ben. That's what they're doing.
No, they just move on to Warhammer then, don't they?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Warhammer seasonal release.
There you go.
Oh my God. Yeah, if you're into pro cycling management, you've got a great week right here.
Well, this one, this is tragic. I'm trying to defend them so much. This one is more focused on the cycling itself, right?
Yes.
So, like, it's like you're a cyclist.
Yeah, but Eddie, the video clearly shows management.
Well, Ben, for a start, fuck you. Second of all, there is actually a pro team mode in this one where you can manage your own team over a season.
Okay. I bet maybe they have just got the same. Oh my god!
There is a lot of copy paste between these two. If it turns out that in Pro Cycling Manager you can do the Tour de France as a rider, it's going to be like, okay, come on, guys.
Pure copy and paste. Oh.
Yeah. If anyone pays for both games and then just realises one mode is the other game.
Oh, you'd be fucking livid,
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be so pissed off. All right, well, there you go. Sino Studios out again. Next one, Speed Crew, coming out on Switch, June 8th. Get ready for a high-octane cooperative party game experience in Speed Crew. Assemble your team of 1 to 4 players and take on the role of an elite pit crew tasked with fixing cars and beating the clock to secure victory in this fun and chaotic adventure. So like you're a pit crew with like racing, like they're taking tyres off and stuff, but it's very wacky. It's very like wacky looking, and it's like cartoony, if you will. There's like different environments where like the floor changes, and there's like you have to grab things off conveyor belts and stuff. Yeah, I can imagine if a bit of a younger audience than me, and it's.
Is it like Overcooked but for?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment.
I mean, I've never played Overcooked. I'm not playing that shit. But this looks like it's similar.
Yeah. I'm not even mad at it, to be honest with you. I think if you got your mates with you and you were like, I don't know, like 16 to 18, I think this could be quite fun.
You sound defeated, Eddie.
Because I don't like praising shit like this. I don't live for it. I don't want to praise it, but I'm trying to be, non-judgmental. I'm trying to be open-minded.
Yeah, it looks all right for what it's. As I said, it looks like a Overcooked game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a free demo on Steam.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ended with a high.
We're not done. I'm talking about this as well. If you're playing a racing game and you decide you wanted to be the pit crew, what the fuck is wrong with you? But otherwise, yeah, crack on.
Well, that's a bit yeah. Who are the pit crew? Like in real life, I think they are like. Are they engineers and stuff? They're not actual people that just. Good. Yeah. Right, that's good.
No, they're incredibly skilled people. Yeah,
and it's all about split second,
competence and execution. Yeah, insane level. I don't think a Nintendo wacky game does it justice, really, of the profession. But yeah.
Maybe they could combine it with a racing game. Oof, there you go.
Or maybe you could get it in the Tour de France game. They've got every feature, including management, in that.
That's funny you said that, because on the Steam page of Speed Crew, it's got Tour de France video on the thing. So.
On the Steam page of a Nintendo game as well.
Work that one out. Yeah, fucking hell. Don't even look at Warhammer Total War 3. Jesus, you don't want to look at that. Very confusing. Right, let's move to Grey Hill Incident, coming out on PC, PlayStation's June 9th. This story-driven survival horror game is about a classic alien invasion which takes place during the early 90s. As Ryan Baker, equipped with a baseball bat and a few bullets in his revolver, the story takes you... You can't be equipped with a few bullets in the revolver, can you? Surely you got to equip the revolver with a few bullets in it.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to summarise that you don't have much ammo.
Yeah, but at the same time they're saying they're equipped with bullets.
Yes, and a bat.
Well, the bat's. I've got no issues with the bat.
The pistol's attached to him. Okay, it's the bullets that were the new.
No issues with the bat.
That isn't the focus.
I welcome the bat. I have issues. You can't be equipped with bullets.
Okay. The revolver is clearly an integral part of him as a human, so the bullets were the only new addition he equipped.
The bullets are the integral part of this sentence.
Right, fine. The story takes you across the atmospheric neighbourhood of Grey Hill, which is invaded by UFOs and grey aliens. Yeah, so it's a first-person horror game. The visuals are okay. It's quite good at setting the like alien creepy look. Like it's all very dark and it's almost like got a fog of war over you, which is a bit weird. But I think what really lets it down, like I found it all really quite creepy, and then the aliens to me just look really stupid, and they even walk really stupidly. And yeah, I thought the atmosphere was brilliant, but then I was not scared at all when I saw the alien. But I guess
Yeah,
that's
well,
what I'm doing.
they're like E.T. mixed with To Catch a Predator type, aren't they? Like they're rubbish.
Yeah. You know what? There's three things, Pete, that put me off. Is that the face looks stupid. It looks like a less scary cartoon alien.
They probably think your face looks stupid.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
Wow.
Two, I think, two or B, whichever one I forgot what I started with. They're quite short. No offense, Ben, but as in like it's not scary. And also, like the way they walk, just like it's like an awkward human.
Don't you talk about walking, Eddie?
What's wrong with my walk?
This has become very personal.
I know.
Very
What's happening?
fast.
Just because of the shortcut.
Eddie, you're going to throw in that they're bold as well, or is that just?
They are.
They are bold, Ben. Hey Ben, but if you keep on looking, there are humans with like tinfoil hats, so maybe you could do that.
I mean, the human really does look like Woody Harrelson. I assume he's a major character as well.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, the main thought I have with all games like this, by the way, and films actually that have this sort of vibe, why are there these places that name themselves things like Grey Hill? Like, if you name your town Murder and something goes wrong, who's to blame, really, you know?
Do you think the aliens did,
Midsommar
like,
Murders.
they translated our language and then went, maybe they're inviting
That
us because
place.
they call us
Yeah.
Greys, right?
Yeah, well, it's like Springfield next door. Nah, that's too friendly a name. We'll go to the dodgy one. We'll go to the horrible wreck of a town.
I was thought about Midsommar Murders. I thought, why would anybody go to Midsommar? Because everyone gets murdered.
Yeah, who's moving to Midsummer? Like, who's willingly
To be fair,
choosing?
it's just
There's
like
a lot of low
EastEnders.
prices, though.
Like, EastEnders, fucking someone dies every, like, 6 months. I'm like, Jesus, that's quite offensive.
Yeah, the actual rate of death in these places is
Absurdly high. Absurdly high. Well, I mean, East End is East London, maybe. But the rest, it's definitely absurdly high.
I do like the look of this game, though. It's story driven, and I quite like that in like a horror game. That it's story driven, and I do think this will be successful for streamers. I could definitely see that
hugely.
this is. I mean, a lot of people are playing the Outlast Trials, I think it's called now. But horror games do great with streamers. I think this is going to be another one. So, yeah, I'm sure people will see it on Twitch.
Yes.
Cool. All right, last one is just a DLC, unfortunately. It's WWE 2K23 Race to NXT pack. Coming out on PC, PlayStation's Xbox is June 14th. Do you know what the NXT is? Is it like a different wrestling brand?
Yeah,
Always forget this.
I assume
like
it is.
is it like the?
Is it the
I'm
amateur
sure
one?
Isn't it like the one, but the tier below that they put in? The NXT,
Oh,
Quite
yeah.
possibly.
they have the up and comers come through there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Did it used to be the amateur one? Now it's like the up and comers. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I found a game called WNXT, and it does say amateur male and female wrestlers compete against each other.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe it's like amateurs. Okay, but yeah, you get 4 NXT wrestlers, and you also get Harley Race, who's an old wrestling legend. So if you got that game, you got a few more wrestlers.
You know, 2K23 WWE, it's like 82 or 83 on Metacritic. Like,
nice.
if you're a wrestling fan, it's like really good. I think.
Isn't that the one, Ben, where I went mental and said how impressed I was with all the game modes? Do you remember? It had loads
yes,
of game
we
modes.
talked about it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's actually looked really impressive.
It did
I
look
mean, we're
really
not wrestling
impressive.
fans. If you are a wrestling fan, then
Oh, I'd be over the
Finish
you
moon.
already know about it.
If I was a wrestling fan or a cycling fan, I'd be. Oh,
What a week!
If you were both, my God.
oh
my
my
days.
god!
Oh my
Jeez.
days, bruv.
I would write to Cyanide and say stop making Warhammer games because you got your market
cycling.
sold. My pick of the week. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm gonna pick Pro Cycling Manager.
What? How can that possibly be better than Tour de France 23?
Yeah, how could you ever make that decision ahead of Tour de France
Because
2022?
Pro Cycling Manager is so good that they used the game footage for that for another game.
You don't know which order they went in, but
I do. I do.
It's got too many management parts.
That
to
is true.
surely
Exactly.
not
There's
be.
no
true.
way all those management, all the analytics is part of the fucking. If it is, I'm massively impressed. To be fair.
If it is, I'm buying Tour de France.
Well, I think you need to buy both of them anyway, Ben. Don't you? So
Maybe we could ask Cyanide Game to send it over and
There you
see.
go.
We could see.
there you go. For pointing out their issues. Yeah. No. All jokes aside, I just think I like the analytics. I like the management side of it. It just looks like Football Manager but with cycling. So if you were going to force me to play any of these games, I wouldn't be mad at Pro Cycling Manager.
okay. Fair enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bad week.
Well, it's I mean, it's a short week as well. It feels like one of the shortest ones we've had in a while, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the ever optimist. I'm going to say we've had like 4 or 5 weeks of like huge things just being thrown at us. So the fact that we've got a small week, I'm not mad.
Yeah, we've had some really massive games, and it takes a big studio like Cyanide Studios to release games the week after Diablo and Zelda.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and it's not like we haven't got enough content to talk about right now anyway with the showcases coming up. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but
Oh, I will say, Ben, last week, Pete did miss that game because it came out on my emails this week saying it's out on, what was the game? Come on.
yeah, that would be useful. If I'm going to miss something, what did I miss? Like,
Ben, that game that we recommended on Twitter. Oh, Far World Pioneers?
Oh yeah, Far World Pioneers.
yeah.
Oh, that's out, isn't it, on Game Pass?
Yeah, it came out on the 30th of May.
Ooh, are you
Wow.
gonna play that soon, Eddie?
I will let you know now that it's mostly negative on Steam.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, apparently it's a bit unfinished.
Ah, okay. Maybe give it time then.
Yeah.
Yeah, those types of games improve substantially as they get older, though, don't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Look forward to that. I feel we should move on now before we mention anything else I might have missed.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Like the update to Black Desert Online or something like that, which did come out this week, but we're not talking about. So, on to what we've been playing.
Right.
Ben, how's Zelda?
Yes, Zelda was great all week until Friday when Diablo came out. I've done 3 of the 4 dungeons. I wanted to have done the main story during before Diablo came out, but it's just too big a game. You get too sidetracked with different things, and that's okay. I think it's just I've just appreciated that Zelda's going to take more time, and I don't need to rush through it because it's enjoyable. So I'm about 50 hours in. But it is a real test of the game now because Diablo's out, and Diablo was the one that I was waiting for. So we'll see. I don't think I'll be playing much of it this week, but hopefully I'll be back on it maybe the week after.
Yeah, do you reckon, I mean, it's going to be simple enough to pick up and crack back on with.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like that's it. Like, but whilst you're really into something, you play that game. Like,
exactly.
Don't need to mix it up. Don't need to force yourself to do something you don't really fancy at the time. So I'll be back on Zelda. No worries.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Well, in the background, I finished Planet of Lana.
Oh,
lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I really enjoyed it, actually. Yeah, I was actually really impressed. I thought the ending was very good. I thought the way they drew it together and the way they made the puzzles more difficult as you went on actually improves a lot more as you start getting more options. Don't want to avoid spoilers because it is a very short game, but a mechanic change partway makes it interesting for me, some of the later puzzles. And it does tug the heartstrings just a little as well with a few bits it does.
Aww.
So, yeah, really enjoyed that game. Thought it was very well put together. If it
Does
had
the
had...
cat die?
No.
Okay, good.
Spoilers?
Yeah. Oh, no, but I might be lying. Or you might have to make a decision that changes things. It's up to you to find out. Anyway, yeah, what I will say...
Does Joel die?
Yes. As he will in the TV show next season. Look forward to that, everybody.
Whoa!
If you didn't see that coming, then you're just a bad fan. Anyway, yeah, it draws together really well. And if it did have a combat system, I think this would have gone up in the echelons to like not far from Ori and Hollow Knight. But without one, it's a really nice palate cleanser. It did a really good job for me. So, very impressed by that game.
I might have to go back to that,
I think.
Did they leave it open for a second one, Pete?
In theory, yes. You could easily do more. It's because of the method of storytelling. It doesn't really give you conclusive answers, just sort of inferred answers.
Suggestions.
So you could easily develop upon it further if you wanted to. Yeah. If you wanted to. But I also think it works perfectly well as a standalone. What I will say, Eddie, is if you're going to go back to it, the next time you have a gaming limbo week, it's a perfect one to just see through until something else pops up. That is exactly what it's great for. So yeah, Planet of Lana. Don't knock it.
Good stuff.
Cool. I'll go next. I have been playing Wolon Fallen Dynasty.
You actually got into it. Okay.
No, Pete. I haven't gotten into it. And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you started with this.
Right.
I won't go into all the big things because Ben's already talking about it. And so, was it Deadbeat Punk came on and talked about it?
Yeah. He talked about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, straight off the bat, I was quite impressed with like the customizations and stuff. And I thought, I'm going to get excited about this, or I'm into my Three Kingdoms. But straight away, I'm spawned into this world that I do not like. Like, not only is it so linear that it's literally pointing you down directions, which is kind of fine, but it's a horrible world. As in, it looks horrible. As in, you don't like being there. Right. And I didn't like playing it because of that. So that's kind of a problem. The combat is exactly like it is in most Souls games, but I didn't like it because I wanted to get out of this area because I didn't like it. I didn't want to play it. And then I just knew that I had to keep on being patient. I had to waiting for them to hit and then block. And then it became so methodical that I just got fucking so infuriated, especially when I died and I had to go back. And when you die, Benny, as you know, all the enemies respawn.
Yeah, it's a classic Souls kind of setup. For me, I don't know if you got this feeling. Like I've played many Souls games. To me, it just seemed like when I used to play Neo, and Neo, a lot of people think it's up there with some of the best Souls games, but to me, it just seemed like an inferior Souls game. I didn't like the combat. I really didn't like it.
Well, you've led me, I guess, to my final point is I don't play Souls games. I never have played Souls games. Would you consider Devil May Cry a Souls game? It's the original, really, isn't it?
Fuck you.
Yeah, so maybe I have. Maybe I've played a lot of Souls games. But I really strongly am not enjoying playing this. I will try and give it another try before Game of the Year, at the end of the year. But I'm really not liking it. And I guess that really complements my appreciation to... I've forgotten the game. There you go. What's the best game last year? Fuck my life. Elden Ring. That just goes to show, because I played Elden Ring, and it's kind of the same, mechanics, if you will. But I absolutely loved that game. Like, I didn't feel any of the negative feelings that I'm having here, like the combat being too stuck and too rigid and too slow. I didn't feel like the world was horrible. Like, the Elden Ring world was beautiful and open and free, and even with the combat, I just felt like if I didn't want to deal with it, I ran away. And this game has none of that. So I do not think I'm a Souls player, and I think playing this, I hate Souls games, but my God, Elden Ring is one hell of a game. I think that's the two takeaways I've got.
I don't like. I think we're now beyond the kind of static, linear Souls type games. Well, I am personally, like, I've played loads of them, but Elden Ring took it to another level, and this was just. And I didn't even think graphically it looked that great. I didn't think the combat was nice. I thought I didn't like the environments. I got furious by that first boss. I thought he was two-phase, and got to that second phase. I was like, oh my oh, that can't be asked. It's off.
Mm-hmm.
So
it must be said as well. I remember this one particularly because it has really detailed floors, like beneath your feet. Yeah, they're really detailed. There's loads of stuff going on. None of it moves, so there'll be like bones and wood and shit strewn everywhere, and it's all just built into the floor.
The environment feels incredibly static, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it, kind of.
Yeah,
and it was the floor more than anything in the videos I watched that you were just like, why even just have a flat grass lawn? Like,
I think if you can play one of these games, like Neo and Neo 2 are very highly rated, but Sekiro's just the way to go. But if you played all of those, then maybe Wulong is right up your street.
Yeah, if you just need something that is fresh, maybe it's Wulong. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not for me.
Maybe it's not. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Right, should we talk about Diablo?
I was going to say it does bring us to the main event. Go on.
Let's talk. So the main thing, it came out on Friday through early access. It's out on Tuesday, so yesterday if you're listening today.
Yeah.
These servers worked incredibly well. I mean, we've had a few betas, haven't we? I mean, Peter played it. I've played them as well. We had a few betas. Servers were tippity top, especially in the UK. I did see some issues on Twitter about some people in America having to wait a little bit, but this is an always online game. So, but it's absolutely seamless. I played 20 hours across Friday to Sunday, so I didn't skip a beat on that. Yeah, I think I've got a level 42 character. We're recording on Monday now. I'm furious that I haven't been able to play today.
Yeah, I'll bet.
That's annoying, and I'll play after this podcast, no doubt. And I've played online with Donnie on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, I think. So, and that was seamless as well. And they've got inbuilt voice chat in the game, cross-platform, cross-play.
Lovely,
brilliant. So, it was so easy to do. Just join their clan in. Lovely.
Before you move on, do you reckon the servers were so good because it was early access still?
I am interested to see what they're like tomorrow. So tomorrow when it's released properly, I am interested.
Feel busy?
The world seemed busy enough.
Okay,
the world seemed busy enough, like seeing people and stuff like that. And I'll talk about some of that in a minute. So yeah, like it was all there, and all over Twitter, people are playing this relentlessly. So it's active. This game is very, very active at the moment. It is a massive. I do feel it's a massive step up from Diablo 3. The campaign writing, the story, just feels so much more impactful and meaningful because now they have cutscenes. I mean, yes, we saw this in the beta and stuff, but yeah, there's just more to it. The world actually is beautiful, like how it's put together. It is wonderful to look at. It's a joy to play from that perspective. The music is great as well, but. You know, Diablo is an acquired taste. I think this is the first time I'd say that Diablo is properly mainstream. You know, like the previous Diablo games, like not many people you come across like are big Diablo fans, I don't think. So it's not that. It's a big game, big franchise, obviously, but it's not huge for the mainstream. But this one, I think, has been really taken to by a lot of people. I see so many people playing this that have never played a Diablo game. So many people on Twitter say it's their first Diablo game, which is testament to how much this game has kind of been built up and how much they've shown of it, and having free betas for people to play. That is an excellent way to get people in.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, it's a combat or character build focused isometric ARPG, so action RPG. Where the focus is on continually looting, building up character stats, getting different buffs, bonuses to all different armor sets and weapons and all this kind of stuff. Constant improvement, and for that reason, like it is a classic kind of dopamine hit game. Like numbers go up on the screen. So therefore, I improve, and it makes me happy, and it makes me feel like I'm progressing. But there is behind it, there's just such a fantastic depth to Diablo, and how you can feel you're actually genuinely crafting your character to make things easier for you. But one of the main differences in this particular version is the MMO aspects, and you just said like about the world, it was like busy. And yeah, like this is a single player game. It's a single player game that you can play with other people and co-op, but it's essentially single player. You come across people in the open world. There are live events all the time, like things popping up that you just randomly come across, and then you're fighting with somebody else doing something. I haven't done the world boss yet in the first area, but I did do a gathering of legions, like world event, which is essentially like the tier down from a world boss, I think, and like 8 of us showed up and just like rinsed these like 3 bosses. It was brilliant, and it feels like a classic Diablo game, but more Diablo 2 in terms of darkness, and mixed with MMO aspects of more modern games, which is very, very cool. But not only that, it seems like they've simplified a lot of the systems as well, like upgrading weapons, the gems, extracting powers, and putting them on the new weapons and all that kind of stuff. You get an abundance of resources, so you don't feel like... Because there's always a risk in these types of games, and Pete, you'll know it from Warcraft, I'm sure. Like, you don't want to focus on one piece of armor or kit too much, because you know it's going to get outdated very quickly.
Yeah, massively so.
But you don't feel bad enough that you've got such an abundance of resources here that you can upgrade these things, and then if it gets chucked away next time because you've got something better, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, around about that level 20 to 30, you're kind of... I feel like that's the hardest time in this game. Like maybe 15 to 25, like you're grinding out and you haven't quite got your build yet. You haven't quite got unlocked all your abilities that you want. But then as soon as you hit like 30, 35, 40, like you're really building up a character, which feels fantastic.
Yeah, you get to actually commit to things at that point, don't you? Like...
Yeah, you commit to certain spells or whatever you're using.
Mm.
And the interesting thing is the scaling of the enemies. So enemies scale with you. Yeah. Probably there are caps in certain areas or whatever, but essentially enemies scale with you. The differentiator on how easy or difficult the game is really your build and how much you've really crafted your buffs and what you're using and paid attention, all that kind of stuff. And the actual difficulty settings in the world tiers that you choose, like whether you're playing a world tier 1, 2 or 3 or whatever, when you unlock them, that's basically just to add difficulty so you get better drops and all that kind of stuff. But it's not difficulty in the truest sense. Like, you couldn't just... If you had all the difficulties unlocked, you couldn't rock up in the final difficulty with a new character, even if you're the best player in the world. Like, you can't do that. Difficulty is different in Diablo from that perspective. But the scaling of enemies makes it so that you actually feel that if it's getting easier, you are doing something behind the scenes. It's not just your level.
Yeah.
Which is great. And even like playing online, like when I was playing with Donnie, we were different levels. But the way that they've done it is that you're playing with... Something going on there?
Now there's Emma walking in the door.
Definitely going on there.
Forgetting that I'm doing the podcast. Like, did you hear me quickly mute it? I was doing the hand signals, but she wasn't fucking getting it.
Just a final point is like when you play online with somebody, that the great thing is that your level is kind of doesn't matter. So I could play over level 1 and I could be level 40 or whatever. If you're fighting the same thing, you do the same equivalent damage to if the enemy was your level. So let's say you do 25% of the damage to the enemy, it was 25% of the damage to the other person as well. So it's just got a great way of scaling it. So you're doing it, which emphasizes the fact that this is a single player game. Just you're playing alongside other people. And I love Diablo at its core for that. Like, Diablo is a single player game. It's just now you get to do it a lot more alongside other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Excellent. So, I mean, you haven't answered some questions I would have liked to have seen here, Ben, one of which is, what are you playing as? Or what are you planning to main, more accurately?
I'm a sorceress
of course.
At the moment.
Okay.
I would quite like to do druid. Mm-hmm. But as the first character, I think I'll do this. I'll then wait probably for the first season, and then I'm thinking druid.
Okay.
The Sorceress I did in the beta. I really wanted to see it through. I think I have a nice kind of build set up for it. I'm interested to see what the Druid has. They've made a lot of changes over. They've already released new patch to do balancing changes and everything. I love the Necromancer from Diablo 3. I'm not so interested in this because I think it's relatively similar to the Sorceress. They are it would appear, the two easiest classes.
Yeah.
So I would like to, or maybe a Barbarian even. I'll try something new in the first season, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And how long did you get to play with Donnie?
We played a couple of hours. I think after this pod we're going to play a few hours as well. But I think we played a couple of hours. Time just flies because because this is an open world game.
Yeah.
And we were just going around doing dungeons because you do dungeons for the first time, particular dungeons, and you unlock aspects. They're called aspects, which you can then apply to weapons if you are a certain character. So in a particular dungeon, if you complete that dungeon, you get a druid aspect. And so when you play a druid, whenever you do, you can put that aspect on weapons. So it's a nice reason to do the dungeons. Which obviously at the end game you'll be doing the dungeons relentlessly anyway. But but yeah, it's a nice reason to do it cooperatively now because again that progress passes over. The brilliant thing about the multiplayer aspect is if the person you're playing with is behind you on the story, it will bring their progress up. So you go into their world, and it will bring their progress up to where you are. If you then hit the point where you are at the same point of the story, you will both progress the story by playing it. Okay. And I just think that's brilliant. There's so many games like Elden Ring won that award, didn't it? Like a month ago or something for best multiplayer last year. Fuck it. How the fuck can that get best multiplayer when you don't get cross progression? You have to do it twice essentially. You have to do it in both worlds. But in this, they just seamlessly done it. It's brilliantly done. The co-op so far, from what I see, is really, really well executed.
Excellent. Okay, I'm trying to make the decision on whether I want to jump in or not.
When are you going to? I think that's the question.
Yeah, that's the key. I know I've got a couple of other people I know from my guild who are going to jump in straight away. I know Ben's playing. I know Donnie's playing. Tricky.
I did think, are you, because you've got your World of Warcraft expansion coming out.
Yes,
right.
And I said one of the phase, but yeah.
I said to Donnie, I think the other day, I was like, I think you'll jump on, but probably after that's kind of seen through.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's tricky. I'm kind of going with I'm either in tomorrow or I'm in for first season.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it goes. But it's very difficult. I really want to play more of it.
I think there's something to figuring it all out before the first season comes out.
Yes, that is a very good point as well.
Then diving in and going, right, I know what I'm doing. I know my path to quick victory, to leveling up and stuff like that. But I'm interested to see what they do in the seasons, because how they mix up the world, how they add some different things in, how they just change up the character type slightly to make one character stronger in that season, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I am interested to see what they do. But there's so much in this. I want to tackle World Boss next. I want to, there's depth on depth in this game, and it's no let up. This is going to consume a lot of people.
Consume a lot of people? Do you mean to consume a lot of people's time, I hope?
No, consume.
No, just fully consume them. Fully consume them. Yeah, it's where we go to end.
And if somebody has never played this game, like Diablo, but the idea of a looting, when I talk about my forever game that I want, this is it. This is the type of game that gets me in, and gets the hooks in. So
yeah,
if that sounds of interest to anybody, you can't go wrong. This is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. I really am going to end up paying for this, aren't I? It's weird being on a gaming podcast and saying this, but I never see the value in a game that's this expensive. I just don't believe it. But it will be. This
type of game you can possibly, because of just the sheer amount of time, and you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are going to play the hours, Pete.
I know.
I have spent I think I spent top dollar for Tarkov. I spent top dollar on Fallout 4. Cyberpunk, that was a bit of a mistake. But, like, I know that when I'm going to spend a lot of hours on it, then, yeah, it doesn't matter if you chuck top dollar.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper on CD keys, Pete.
Oh, yeah, I know that too. I almost actually went for pre-purchase, or
Oh,
pre-order.
did you?
Yeah,
Cheeky bastard.
after you sent it to me, I almost did. But I'm glad I didn't, and it'd be a bit pointless now. So, well, anyway, let's stop talking about Diablo because it will make me make a decision I don't want to make immediately.
I'm looking forward to hearing that next week, Pete, on what we've been playing.
Yeah, I'm also going. I haven't got many free nights this week, so I might at least buy like 10 days before I jump in.
Pete, I also said to Donnie, I was like, I really want you to get this game because then that, like, I'm all into like the stats and trying to max my build and all this kind of stuff. But you take min-maxing to the next level, and it will quickly become apparent where exactly I've gone wrong. So for the first season, I will be on it.
That is fair and a very good point as well.
The hours of Elden Ring conversations we had about our builds.
Yeah, well, that's the best bit as well. Is like most of the excitement is at the early stages.
Yeah,
so it's kind of I don't want to miss that much. Oh. Anyway, we have a feature to talk about. Let's do that while my brain does the mental gymnastics to play for Diablo in the background.
Let's do that.
So, as we said at the beginning, our feature this week is our expectations for the presentations coming up. That was a
big week.
Huge week in theory. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Summer Games Fest, as we all know.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of potential for some interesting stuff this week. Like,
heard that before.
Yeah, we have. But we know at least that Cyberpunk's going to be there. Like, the DLC is there.
We do know that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we might see a bit more about Idris Elba in Cyberpunk. Yes. Interacting with Keanu Reeves. That could be cool. Yeah. That could be very cool. And then, obviously, I am staking everything on Silksong making an appearance.
Well, I did mention it on Twitter a few weeks ago.
But it feels like lies now. I just feel like I'm being led on. But could you imagine if it's a release date?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be big. Seeing that the social media guy came out and said, "Oh, it's going to be a while."
Yeah, I know. But even if it's a year from now, that would still be enough for me. Like,
yeah. Just knowing it's real.
Yeah. But. Come on, beyond those two, what else are you guys? Go on, lead me in with one of your expectations, Ben.
I find this is one of the first showcases that we've had in ages where I'm really struggling to think of. There's a few things that we know are big. So like Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2, I would imagine they're going to show something. The Jeff Keighley Kojima relationship. I imagine they're going to show something. We also know Mortal Kombat 1. There's going to be gameplay there. Beyond that, it gets a little bit like we're shooting in the dark, and we know of other big games, right? Avatar, things like that.
Yeah, true.
I saw the latest film, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And so now I'm into Avatar. So now I'm all in. That film was fucking tremendous. If you get to see that IMAX 3D, oh my god, that's so good.
This is the thing. They're a spectacle, aren't they? Even if you don't like the storyline in the first one, or I haven't seen the second.
Oh,
they are such a spectacle.
It's insane, man. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. But I don't. It's very hard because we've got we got some big games that we'll talk about here, but I don't really know about any rumored new IPs or whatever. It seems like we've got kind of a short window of understanding of games.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this is an opportunity to really push out that 2-year window to show more things. That
would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, think about even a couple of years ago when we had the 30-second tease. I say a couple, it's probably like 5 now, of Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah. Things like that would be more than enough just to get a sense that they exist.
Because I don't know 2 years' time. I don't know what's there. I don't even know the 18-month time thing, because all the games that we're talk about, I hope we see Aliens Dark Descent, but that's out in a fucking month.
Yeah.
So, I don't. I'm going in with my expectations really low on Summer Games Fest. Not because I'm not looking forward to it. I really am, but I'm expecting nothing, so I will only enjoy it. That's how I'm going in.
I look forward to your disappointment. But okay,
Yeah, I was going to say, Ben, that I like that tactic, but the fact that you've said that second part of "I can't be disappointed" means your expectations are sky high now.
Yes.
So disappointed.
Yeah.
Any big games that you're expecting or hoping for?
Nothing I give a shit about. Yes, I would like to see stuff on the Avatar game. Cyberpunk DLC, looking forward to seeing that because I'm always looking for an excuse to buy it. Alien Dark Descent, I always want to see more on that. Yeah, don't really give a dump.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So I mean, the one that we all know is hanging there as well, the Mass Effect thing, the Mass Effect sequel. I'm really interested in seeing more of this, just because they're going to have so much difficulty doing a sequel to a series that ended with 3 choices. Like, how do you resolve that without making one of them the canon choice?
Well, they have one as the canon, don't they? They choose.
That's what they're going to have to do. In
have
theory.
they already? Is that? I mean, I think. Did we talk about this before or something? I'm sure. Have they chosen a canon choice?
I don't think so. Everyone's. All I've seen, because obviously you read it on Reddit and all over the place, is that most people think it's going to be the Destroy ending at the end of Mass Effect 3 that is carried through. That is what most people believe, but I do not believe it is actually announced as canon.
Yeah.
And if it is, it's going to really wind up a lot of people.
Is there a way of them, like, I don't know, maybe doing a poll and then coming up with the...
They're too into it, though. Hopefully they're too into development.
Well, as in, do you think they could have done that before? Is there a way of them seeing who chose the amount of...
I'm not sure there is, but you do wonder if it's going to be any better than like having gone, it was all a dream, and reset by like 2 hours of the last game.
If there were achievements back then, which there were and there still are, and in the Legendary Edition, etc., they will know what ending people most commonly have.
There you go. True. Yeah, they could work it out that way.
So I'm sure they'll be able to, and they would have done so many focus group kind of testing on Mass Effect in there.
Yeah, the fun thing is, though, is it gives a lot of... I know we're sort of tangenting here slightly, but I think it is quite crucial to it. One of the endings kind of makes it impossible to do a sequel without everyone being slightly cyborg. In fact, everyone would be slightly cyborg. One of the endings about several main characters and one of the major races have just gone. They're completely gone. Mm-hmm. And then you've got all the supplemental choices that you made earlier in the game about the fates of other species that may or may not be there anyway. There's just, because it was such a climactic showpiece, the third one, it's actually really hard to do a sequel without fucking off a lot of people.
Well, it depends how much they... I know this is more of a sequel and they've kind of sacked off the Andromeda stuff, right?
In theory, yeah.
But the old games worked better because you literally carried on your character, didn't you? You just carry that on, especially in the Legendary Edition. It was so easy to do. I mean, I am looking... Mass Effect is so huge that, like, you know, Mass Effect wasn't a big franchise to me. Yeah. But I enjoyed the first one especially. But I would be really interested in a new one. I think Eddie, you'd be interested in this as well.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
A big game.
Yeah. I remember. Was it Mass Effect 2? I had one of those awe-inspiring moments where I landed on one of the worlds and I went, "Holy shit! I now love Mass Effect games." So yeah, I'm all in. Yeah, I may not seem enthusiastic because I've always disappointed by games, but I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, and I'm just intrigued to see what they do. That's the other thing with this. How they're going to do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the thing is, they can't mess it up. They already messed up another one.
Yeah. Yeah, true. They've had their freebie. The mulligan's gone.
As we said right at the start, it's not saying time has passed on these games. True. You know, it's not the same. But see what they do. The other one for me that I think is interesting, I think Armored Core is going to get more of a showing. I think it'll get gameplay. I think FromSoft are going to capitalize. I think they'll show Elden Ring DLC. I think they'll show Armored Core stuff. And, you know, FromSoft could really steal the show if they say something Bloodborne related, whether that's
That
PC
would be a big
remaster,
deal, wouldn't
60
it?
frames, Bloodborne 2. You know, it's now almost just a humorous joke. You know, Bloodborne. Nobody's ever going to talk about Bloodborne again, but
It's almost
they
like
really
Silk Song,
could.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're riding a wave at the moment. FromSoft, like people that never liked FromSoft games, liked Elden Ring, okay, and then they go, oh, here's Armored Core 7. So now you've got all the people that like FromSoft games and all the people that liked Elden Ring going, okay, well, I'll try this mech game.
Yeah.
And so now it's a perfect opportunity for them to also go, here's Bloodborne remaster on PS5 and PC or whatever. You know, it's just it's a perfect opportunity for them just to ride their own wave.
Very true.
So I wouldn't be so, and the internet would go mental. They would go mental, and it would cement FromSoft as being the premier kind of game studio alongside Rockstar and Naughty Dog and stuff. You know.
Yeah, put themselves up amongst the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fair.
But
Okay.
beyond that, I don't know about some games. It's an unknown quantity to me, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's one of those you can enter with, as you said, with little hype and just see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Which is oddly quite a nice place to be.
Because you know, like the likes of Ubisoft and people like that will be there. They'll show a bit more Assassin's Creed Mirage, maybe, and you know.
True.
But fine.
We'll find out very soon. Tomorrow, if you're listening today.
Yes, Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time.
Yes, indeed. But the other one we should probably talk about, and the one I think I'm a bit more excited for, is Xbox this Sunday.
Yeah.
And actually not the showcase at all. I want to see Starfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. The rest of it, cool. Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll go into that in more. But the Starfield showcase, or the direct on Starfield, that I'm looking forward to a lot. That I have hype for.
Do you think, Pete and Eddie, do you think it would do... Because I think these events, these showcases, I don't think it's that hard to, like... I think Xbox are very good at doing hype shows. I don't think there's any issue that Xbox's show will be excellent. Xbox's issue is in delivering, not in hyping a show. They're very good at that. They're very good at telling us all these things, but not very good at delivering them. I think it would be excellent if Starfield both opened the show and then they had the direct afterwards. So they open the show with Starfield, just a little thing, and then say the direct is happening straight after this event. So it's like gets people into it straight away. I don't want, like, unfortunately, I think how the PlayStation one started was I didn't really like that. It didn't start with any bang, and I think Xbox have an opportunity here.
Yeah,
I like that idea. Yeah, get people excited, and then other things come along. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, only because I want all Starfield. So
Yeah. Well,
if you
you'll get that straight
start
after.
end on Starfield, maybe Starfield throughout as well, and then perfect.
Well, my main
does
hope
sound
from
like a
this,
great mix.
my main hope from this, and my main hope from the Sony one as well, was to be able to visualize a roadmap of the next 18 months to 2 years. Phil Spencer recently talked about that kind of quarterly release schedule that he wants of like big first-party games. We need to be able to start to visualize that, I think. It doesn't have to be exact. It could just be second half of next year or next year in general and stuff like that. But I just want to be able to think like, we've got these 6 games coming out over the next 18 months. That's pretty cool. And that's something that I missed on the PlayStation 1, and I really thought they were going to do. And I just think there's a serious opportunity to create that roadmap in people's minds, and then that cements. That's like, I know you then have to deliver to that, and they're very poor at that.
Yes, set themselves up for failure massively.
Yes, and that's what they'll probably want to avoid. But at least it gets people buying the console and getting in the ecosystem with an expectation.
I think that's a very fair point, actually. There is a real lack of actual concrete detail given on anything. It would be nice to have some more. And I'd like to see some that are further out as well. And again, I'll bring back Elder Scrolls, because it's that, even with GTA 6 as well, it's like, show us some real stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Show us a vague approximation of an end date. And it starts the hype train, it just gets it moving a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, it's really hard to even get engaged with games that are more than 6 months away, really.
Elder Scrolls 6 was a great example you just gave there, because they showed that tease, that 10-second tease or whatever, a few years ago. But that's good because you know they're doing it. It's Starfield, then it's that, then it's Fallout 5. You know.
Yeah,
and you just want to be told that's a thing. Like, it doesn't matter that it's fucking years away. And we know that GTA 6 is happening, and they could tease that at Summer Games Fest or something like that. It could happen. I just want to know about games that are being done at this point, that are in the future. And what the problem that Xbox have is they've done that previously. So let's talk about something like Avowed by Obsidian. So Avowed looked great when we saw it a couple of years ago. Yes. It's now time to show it properly. But now we've been going, where is Avowed? Where is Avowed? But surely it's here, right?
Every few weeks, you just kind of go like, what happened to that thing? But it's got to. I mean, you would think that's got to be close to now, surely. So
you'd think it would. And Fable, as teased,
as spoiled, yes.
So if let's say we're going to get a lot of Starfield, if they turn up with Fable and show something meaningful, they turn up with Avowed and show something meaningful, they put a release date on Forza Motorsport. It's already shaping up very nicely, isn't it?
It is. That would be a very good start.
It's shaping up. I've no doubt they're going to talk about something Gears of War related, because we haven't heard about that for ages.
True.
And that bloody Indiana Jones game that Machine Games are working on, maybe Xbox's answer to Uncharted. We saw it very briefly about 2 years ago, something. It's time. It's
just
now
make
time.
it real, isn't it? Yeah, it's make these things a bit more real.
We were shown Hellblade, I think Hellblade 2 last year, and that like tech demo piece kind of thing, but they were all teased around the same time, like 2-3 years ago, weren't they?
Yes.
Like, now is the time to be delivering over the next year. So
and I think they need a positive story after Redfall as well, don't they? Like, this is the bounce back.
Yeah. And when you say need, you actually mean need. Like, yes. I think a lot of people's trust, my trust in Xbox, is solely on this. I know that sounds like a lot, but if Starfield's a clusterfuck, then it's over for me. I think I'm a pure PlayStation boy. I'm going to sell my house, sell my car, obviously live out of a box just to afford the games, but I'm going to do it.
Okay, what? Right, I've got a question for you two.
Okay.
Do you think they even mention Redfall, or do you think they say, 60 frames a second is coming, or they mentioned DLC support or something like? Do you think they mention it, or they just completely forget about Redfall's existence?
I don't think you can do that this soon. I think you start with it and you move on very quickly. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Like, I think is that 60 frame? Is it going to be coming soon? I assume.
That's what I imagine. That's the thing they would say.
I think it will be quick, and I do not think they'll avoid it. I think it will be there, and they'll say it, but I do not think it will be a focus, because they don't want to highlight their mistakes.
There will be people who still liked it, and there will be people playing it. Even if it's just the 5 who were on Fallout 76 for so long, there'll be someone there. So you don't want to alienate those few you won over by just erasing it. So you may as well give some positive news on it and move on.
Maybe have a sizzle reel and just chuck that in.
Maybe, but just do it quick, do it early, and then ramp up.
I think that's admitting defeat, though. I do think that's...
What, a sizzle reel?
Yeah, just wedging it in there.
60 frames. See ya.
Yeah, that's literally all I would need. Is just like 60 frames coming this date. Move on to the next thing.
If they just went 60 frames available, patch available now.
Yeah, and then ramp. But it is that thing of then go into the stuff that we've been waiting for ages, and give some actual concrete detail. And I'd love, by the way, to review this next week with all these things we've mentioned, with Fable, with Avowed, with Forza Motorsport, Gears of War, and even the ones we were talking about from Games Fest, and just actually see what's in there and how much of it is anything beyond a CGI trailer.
But it's amazing. You'll be pleased here, Pete. You'll be pleased. So Aaron Greenberg been very active on Twitter. He's the marketing board member of Xbox. he has tweeted a couple of things. One is saying there will be no TV show or movie trailers in our Direct. And he also said that the first-party games that will be shown, there will be no full CGI trailers.
Amazing.
They will be in-game, in-engine, or gameplay. It's all in-engine stuff, essentially. Like, I love that competitive environment, like that because I'm looking at what we've got written here, and we haven't even mentioned the Halo Battle Royale potential game that's supposed to be coming out. Like, it seems to me that if you just show what you've been working on here, that everyone knows about. So this isn't even new stuff. All of the stuff that we've just talked about is stuff that people know about. Maybe Gears of War knew, but they will do one eventually. If you just put all of that in, you absolutely kill it.
Yes.
It's almost hard to miss. Don't you think it's really hard to... This is an open goal, isn't it?
You think so, but then Avowed has been delayed so long, or has been... Delayed feels like the wrong word, but I'm going to stick with it, actually. That's been rumoured for so long, and nothing's come of it. You've got to imagine there's complications there. And you've got to with a few of the others as well. So it's kind of that bit of... It's an open goal as long as there's an actual striker on the pitch.
Well,
like,
it's
all right,
it's also...
As long as Shearer's on the pitch, no.
Very good.
In his sharp suit. But no,
For me, it's also that none of these games are anything that I'm... You know, like if you were so into a certain franchise. Like, if Fable's not there, doesn't bother me. If Avowed's not there, doesn't bother me. If Forza's not there, well, it will be, but it doesn't bother me. But as a collection, I think it's wonderful. And I'll play every single one of those. But I'm not married to anyone to make the showcase, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't know how they don't do well. If they don't do well here, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, there's not much to be positive for. The big one then. Do we think there's Halo here? Do we think there's significant Halo presence in any form?
No. I would love them to show the Battle Royale.
That's probably the best option, isn't it?
Yes, because the only issue with that is it was rumoured to be changing from their standard engine to Unreal Engine 5. Mm-hmm. So what that has done to any release date. But if they just said Halo Battle Royale showed a bit of something coming 2024.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that would be a plus, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
get us all playing Halo,
that'd be wonderful. But you guys are on cloud nine. Your expectations never come true.
I'm not suggesting any of this will be there. I'm just saying what could be there.
I'm saying it's going to be there.
It's 20 minutes of Redfall, 60 frames per second. That's what it's going to be, non-stop. Like, look at the levels. Look what you can do.
And then a deep dive into why Starfield's delayed till 2022.
If they know, but it says no release date.
If Redfall is more than 20 seconds, they have not read the room, and that is so poor.
Yeah,
it doesn't at this point. Redfall is so poorly received that we don't need you to show anything to go like, oh look, no, we do care. We will give you 60 frames. No, just forget about it. It's dead. Just forget. Go move on. Like,
I'm still to play it. I'll play it soon.
But you just want to slam it on this podcast.
You know what? I think I'm going to enjoy it because everyone keeps on biting into it.
You did stick with Battlefield for a lot longer than
I liked Battlefield. I thought it was okay.
Eddie, you paid 70 quid for Battlefield, so...
And I was never going to say anything bad about it because of that reason.
Yes.
Oh, Eddie, please play Redfall. Please.
So, we've gone on many tangents here. To wrap this up, what constitutes a win for you personally in this? What do you want to see? Come on. What's your big one? Other than Starfield.
Over the two, or
over the two. Over the next week, what is the big thing you want to have seen?
Okay, I'm going to keep my expectations low.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if it hits, I'm going to have a good time with these shows. Okay. I want to see some Aliens Dark Descent.
Right. Thank you.
What? Just some gameplay? That is a low bar, Ben. Like
Exactly.
that's
I'm gonna
going
have a good
to
time
happen.
this
It's coming out
He's-
like next month. What?
Yeah,
Like,
he's
what?
hurdling a limbo stick, all right? That's
That's
how
like
he's chosen
saying,
to go.
I hope I see an Xbox symbol in the fucking direct.
Then I win. It's all good. I win.
Okay, that was Ben's big win. Eddie, be a bit more ambitious. What's yours?
Ridiculous. You
What's
know what?
yours?
I have nothing from these. Like I don't care about them. But I'm very very much looking forward to the Starfield Direct one. I want to see mechanics. I want to see explanations on base building and ship building. I want them to go more into detail with that. I want some sort of like explanation of management, maybe like crew management. That's what I want to see. Like I will be a very very happy man if it's like, you know, they go 5 minutes of this is what you can do with your ship, with your base, with your team, with companions. Here's how many planets you can do this on. Here's how many missions you have from these. I don't know. I just want as much detail as possible on the mechanics of Starfield. I think that's the only thing I look forward to. It's the only thing I'm looking forward to in gaming for the next 6 months. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good one. I'm actually, in the mechanics side of it, I'm really interested to see the level of detail on the planets. Because the scale they've gone for is so big.
I would like them to address that. I would like them to address that because I have a feeling that there's the No Man's Sky effect of, you know, procedurally generated.
Monotony through too much. Yeah.
I have faith in them not to do that. They've got enough. They've got enough pedigree. They've got enough smarts to not make that mistake.
I think it would be a really odd choice for them if they did, don't you? So
yeah, I do.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. And for me, obviously, the other one above all the rest is Silksong. Just fucking show me something. Come on.
No.
Oh, I think you'll be waiting on that one, Pete.
Shut up! Let me dream.
I think you need to put your faith in aliens.
I am not going that low in my hopes. Anyway, if anyone wanted to let us know what they were most looking forward to, or that we're fools for expecting something, how would they do so, Ben?
Fools! Yeah, you can podcast. You can podcast us. You can email us at podcast@grumpygamers.co.uk, or you can tweet us at grumpygamerspod.
Fantastic. I forget you don't do the stream anymore.
No.
Should really take that off the dock.
Well, you might stream. I have been toying with the idea, and Donnie streamed on Friday, and I was thinking about joining him at the time if I was free and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, streaming some Diablo 4 might be on the horizon.
That would be the bomb. Nice. But it's on the horizon, not regular. So for this week, it's GG.
GG.
GG.